Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome. So, in today's explainer, we're unpacking a really fascinating and honestly deeply concerning medical mystery. We are taking a close look at the work of Dr. Haruki Sakitani. He's done this massive deep dive into the hidden biochemical dangers of lipid metabolism. Now, if you've been following nutrition trends at all lately, you know there is a ton of conflicting advice out there. But today, we're just going to strip away all the hype and look purely at the science of what actually happens when you force your body to run on fat.
I mean, it sounds like a tagline from a horror movie, right? Is your high-fat diet secretly melting your muscles? High-fat and keto diets are, well, they're massively popular right now. They get validated by the media and even by some medical professionals as the ultimate health hack. But Dr. Sakitani's work immediately challenges that whole idea with a pretty terrifying biological possibility. What if the very diet that's meant to optimize your body is secretly forcing it to cannibalize itself?
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start with the high-fat diet myth, then move into why your body needs sugar. From there, we'll uncover the truth about oils, explain how fats destroy proteins, and finally, reveal the ultimate health cost.
All right, Section 1, the high-fat diet myth. Running on fat?
There's this huge trend right now promoting fat as your primary energy source, basically assuming your body can seamlessly switch over to just burning ketones. But now, what's really interesting about this is the hard biological limit of our cells. Your brain, your reproductive tissues, and critically, this is the big one, your red blood cells absolutely require glucose. They need sugar to function. They literally cannot just run on fat. Why? Because red blood cells completely lack mitochondria, and ketones, well, they're processed in the mitochondria. So if you cut out all carbohydrates, your red blood cells can't process the ketones you're making at all. Instead of fueling them, relying entirely on fat causes functional damage. It destroys your red blood cells, which, as you can imagine, ultimately starves your entire body of oxygen and nutrients.
Moving right along to Section 2, your body needs sugar, the missing fuel.
Proponents of high-fat diets often claim that the brain runs perfectly on ketones, but according to Dr. Sakatani's research, looking at the numbers, that's really only a partial truth. Sure, the brain can use ketones, but only temporarily. And even then, it can only cover a maximum of 60% of its energy needs. So that leaves a massive gaping 40% deficit. So, I want to ask you directly, where does that remaining 40% actually come from? If you've aggressively cut carbohydrates out of your diet, and your brain is essentially suffocating for that missing 40% of energy just to think and function, where exactly is your body finding the sugar?
Well, the answer is a process called gluconeogenesis. When your body runs out of dietary carbohydrates, it essentially hits a state of full-blown emergency. To keep the brain alive, your body literally begins to melt its own protein and muscle tissue. It breaks your muscles down into amino acids or pulls glycerol from fats just to synthetically manufacture that missing glucose. You are, quite literally, cannibalizing yourself. And it gets worse. Running constantly on ketones makes your body highly acidic. It's a state called metabolic acidosis, and that puts immense long-term stress on your kidneys and liver. Dr. Sakatani's point is that ketones are meant to be an emergency fuel, not your everyday diet.
Okay, Section 3, the truth about oils, because not all fats are created equal.
We really have to shift our focus to the specific types of fats we consume, and that leads us to PUFAs. Now, PUFA stands for polyunsaturated fatty acids, but to make the complex science a bit easier to grasp, just think of PUFAs as highly processed oils. They're often artificially extracted using chemicals from plant seeds or fish. The absolutely crucial characteristic you need to remember about PUFAs is this: they are extremely prone to rapid oxidation. And this brilliantly illustrates the real divide in the fats we eat. On one hand, we have PUFAs. They're highly reactive, and shockingly, this category includes the heavily promoted omega-3s and omega-6s. We're talking your seed oils, canola oil, soybean oil, and yes, even those extracted fish oils. Then on the flip side, we have saturated fats, things like dairy, cheese, and fat from ruminant animals like cows. Because herbivores pre-digest these fats, they end up chemically stable. They just don't oxidize easily. Yet you'll see a lot of health professionals pushing the unstable PUFAs while demonizing the stable saturated fats.
Which brings us to Section 4, how fats destroy proteins, the toxic chain reaction.
So, what actually happens inside us when we consume those unstable PUFAs? Let's track the fat molecule's journey. Within minutes, PUFAs enter your stomach and intestines. Within hours, they meet the oxygen in your gut. And because they're so highly reactive, they immediately oxidize and form these highly toxic lipid peroxides. I mean, think about the terrible smell of an unclean deep fryer vent or, that red, flushed face you get from a severe alcohol hangover. Those physical reactions, they're caused by toxic aldehydes like acrolein and MDA. When you eat PUFAs, your body is manufacturing those exact same toxic aldehydes internally. And on an ongoing basis, these toxins permanently bind to your cellular proteins. They completely break their structure, which in biology is called denaturing.
The crucial point here is summarized just perfectly by this idea derived from Dr. Sakatani's findings. Diabetes isn't from too much sugar, it's from too much bad oil blocking the sugar. I mean, wow, that is a massive aha moment. Those oxidized fats literally smash into the protein antennas, the insulin receptors on your cells. They completely destroy the antenna so the cell can no longer hear the signal to absorb sugar. And because the sugar can't get into the cell, it stays trapped, just floating around in your blood. You don't get high blood sugar just from eating carbs, you get it because toxic oils have destroyed your body's natural ability to process those carbs.
Finally, Section 5, the ultimate health cost, disease accumulation.
We need to explore the widespread bodily vandalism caused by all this. Once these proteins are damaged by oxidized fats, your body can't break them down. They just accumulate as hard, useless lumps. And exactly where they accumulate, well, that dictates the disease you get. If they build up under your skin, they destroy collagen and elastin. That causes premature, deep wrinkles and a total loss of skin elasticity. If they build up in your blood vessels, they cause blockages and arteriosclerosis. Settling in your joints, that triggers rheumatoid arthritis. In your gut, it leads to inflammatory bowel disease. It is absolutely wild to realize that premature wrinkles and severe joint pain are actually symptoms of the exact same internal protein destruction caused by oxidized oils.
And the data gets even more sobering when we look at the generational impact. According to the source material, consuming these highly oxidative toxic oils during pregnancy literally passes this cellular damage directly to the unborn child. Medical data is increasingly showing that this dietary shift is driving these modern, unexplained spikes we're seeing in childhood strokes, severe autoimmune diseases, and developmental disorders like autism. The dietary choices involving these oils have a profound structural impact on a child's future health.
We've covered a lot of really intense biology today, breaking down how relying on fat destroys red blood cells, how it cannibalizes your muscles for missing brain sugar, and how unstable oils destroy our very cells. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If our biology clearly designed the fat-burning state as a temporary emergency survival mechanism, why have we let modern dietary trends convince us to make it our main fuel? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning what you put on your plate.